And before starting, let us spend a few minutes remembering how lucky we are, how fortunate we are to discuss Dhamma like this, because the origination or the emanation of Dhamma, revealing of Dhamma is very rare, since the emanation of the Supreme Buddha is very rare. So we have got this rare opportunity, and we have got human lives which that can cultivate wisdom. And because these two very rare instances has happened because of the causes we have created during the Sansaric journey, we are very fortunate and we are very lucky to understand the Supreme Dhamma in this manner. So let us, all the meritorious power that was generated by us throughout this samsara, because of doing sankharas in a ministry of Buddha, we were happy and we were delighted about Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, and we might have given alms, and might have listened to Dhamma discussions, and the meritorious power we have generated through these acts has come back to us, helping us to understand the Dhamma more and more. So all the meritorious power may agglomerate together to create the perfect environment for us to comprehend the Supreme Dhamma, ultimately attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And also let us remind ourselves that we were not as good as this during the Sansaric journey. We might have done various unethical deeds, 10 immoral actions, because they were the tools that we used when we were in pursuit of worldly things. Out of gratification, we wanted things to ourselves. So since the things that we wanted were limited, we had to compete, and the competition, the tools of this competition was 10 immoral actions. And we did not know who had Arya qualities. We did not know who were good people, who were bad people. We might have harmed these Aryas without knowing that they had these Arya qualities. And let us acknowledge that we might have done those kinds of things, and let us promise ourselves that we are not going to do such things again. And let us promise in front of Supreme Buddhas that promise ourselves in front of Supreme Buddhas that we refrain from doing sins, and we have understood the wrongs that we have done. With that idea, recite sadhukara.
sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So last time we discussed about Paticca Samuppada, and the week before that also we discussed about firstly about the avidya paccaya sankhara, the Paticca cycle, and then the Arya Paticca Samuppada cycle as well. So I hope you might have listened to it again, and so maybe you have questions about this mechanism that works, that explains everything about us and around us. If you have any questions initially, let us answer these questions, and then we'll move forward with the discussion, today's discussion. So if you have any questions regarding this Paticca cycle, you can either put it into the chat or you can speak out loud.
we will give you all some time in case you are sending us on chat or text. As Thero said, feel free to use the mic to ask any of these questions. So we'll give you a little time. Thero, it seems so far no questions have come through. If anyone is writing, maybe you can just raise your hand on the reactions from Zoom. That way we are aware that you are working on a question. If not, then Thero, you could maybe, if you want to take the explanations or of some terms that you mentioned, or I leave it up to you to decide how you want to take it forward.
So, okay, since we don't have any questions at the moment, we'll move forward. And if you have any questions, you can still put it into the chat, and we will, at the end of the discussion, we will answer these questions. So for today's discussion, a new word was, there's a question actually forwarded to me about Pancupadanakkhandha. So this word actually, initially I would like to tell you something, because you are scholars and you like reading things, and there are a lot of things on the internet, and also during this 2500 years journey of Buddhism, there are various kinds of texts that have been written by various monks and various others as well. So what we have that is closest to Supreme Buddha's teaching is the Pali Canon. So that is the basic test we have. So if you are looking for something, you better stick onto the Pali Canon, because others which were written later has their ideas embedded in these texts. Most of the time when they are trying to simplify it, it happens. If someone has not become an Arya, it is impossible to give out the Arya meaning of a sutta. So let's say, since our Abhiratanalankara Thero had the Artha Dhamma Nirukti Patibhana wisdoms, those are the 4 wisdoms that are needed to understand this Supreme Dhamma. And since these Supreme Dhamma were written, that is written in the Pali Canon, was also written by Arihats who had the same jnanas. Since the both parties has the same jnana, they can understand what is being written. It's like 2 people speaking in English, and people who cannot speak in English cannot understand what they are saying. So since the Arihats who has written the Pali Canon also had Artha Dharma Nirukti Patibhana wisdoms, and also our Thero also had as Dharma Vinirukti Patibhana wisdoms. He could decipher the Arya meaning which was hidden in these suttas. So if it is not a person who has these wisdoms, then it is impossible to express the Arya meaning, the true Arya meaning. It's always something, some mix-up that happens when writing or when explaining. So it's better if you are searching. There's something called Citta Sangayana, Tripitaka.org. That's a site, and in that site there's a search engine, and in that search engine you can search the word, and it would give the Mula or Pali Canon, the references from Pali Canon as well as from other text which is called Anya, and also from Tika. Tika is other explanations, simplified explanations of the Pali Canon. But stick on to the Mula or basics or the Pali Canon, and do not go beyond that and try to refer these Tikas and other texts, because they can, since you're still learning and you are still trying to understand and get the grasp of Dhamma, if something impure gets into your mind, it's harder to purify them. So it's like, let's say you have a blank cloth, blank white cloth. So if you put ink into it, the ink would stay. It would stick to the white dress. But if it is a very dirty and cloth full of other things as well, the dye would not stick onto the cloth. So likewise, when there are impurified things pertaining to Dhamma in your mind, it is very hard to get rid of those, because you do not know that it is right or wrong when it is already in your mind. You take decisions, and you get into conclusions based on these wrong assumptions and wrong texts as well, because initially you did not know, and now it's in your head anyways. So when you are trying to refer these texts, try to stick onto Pali Canon, which is the purest that we can find and which is the closest to Supreme Buddha. So with that, I would try to explain this word Pancupadana. So in other texts, it is mostly this word is found in other texts, and texts like Visuddhimagga, which was written way later after the Supreme Buddha's passing away, Parinibbana. So let's see this Pancupadana from a point of Arya. So Pancupadana means the moment. So we are trying to understand how the moment occurs out of causes. And this is again, we are referring to Paticca Samuppada. So in Paticca Samuppada, because of this moment, because it manifests in a moment, because it occurs in a moment, and after that, when the moment exceeds, that manifestation also dies, decays and dies. That is Jara. So you cannot exceed the moment. So that's how you see the world, or the samsara is anatta, pointless. So if we try to understand, we know that our mind only reads one input at a time. So if it's the eyes, it takes images from the eye, and Chakku Vijnana is formed. And when the Chakku Vijnana is formed, after the Chakku Vijnana is after Chakku Vijnana, this happens through something called Citta Vithi. So there has 4 Citta Vithis should go in order for someone to understand what you are seeing. For example, let's say you are asked to open your eyes and close your eyes in a millisecond as fast as you can. So if you do that very quickly, and before that your eyes were closed, and we place some familiar faces in front of you. So you, maybe your mother, father, your child, or someone is standing in front of you in a distance, and you are asked to blink as fast as you can and try to identify this person. If they are not not in their familiar clothes and having a disguise or something, you would not be able to identify that person in a tenth of a second. It would take some time. So just like that, when inputs are taken from the eye, you cannot just identify the moment. It's impossible. So see you have to have that specific time period in order to identify something. So if you are, again, if you are opening your eyes, you have to at least look at that person's face for at least half a second or 1 second to understand, oh, this is my mother, this is my father. Otherwise you won't be able to understand. So since the elimination of raga, dvesha and moha is nibbana, so if you are devoid of raga, devoid of dvesha and devoid of moha, you have already attained nibbana. So that is the sopadisesa nibbana, and at the end of this life you would attain the anupadisesa nibbana, and all the sufferings would end at that point. So when you are in the journey to get rid of raga, dvesha and moha, think about this moment, what this moment has, or does this thinking about this moment, does it has a value? Because anyway we cannot identify the moment. It's a wisdom that Supreme Buddha has. He only can identify the manifestation of this moment. We can understand the theory behind this. We can understand how it works and how it makes this world more pointless, essenceless. But we can never identify the moment through a meditation. In fact, you could not identify the person in front of you in a moment. So without identifying the person, you won't, raga won't start. Dvesha won't emanate in your mind. Moha cannot occur in your mind, because only after identification that you give value to them, that you get attached onto, latch onto them, or you reject them and you develop a conflicting mind towards them and create dvesha in your mind. So raga or dvesha happens only after identification of something. If there's no identification, then there cannot, and the raga or dvesha cannot occur. So knowing about and trying to practice and trying to think or trying to meditate to identify the moment is not, therefore it is not mentioned in the Pali canon, but mentioned in other texts. So this is the difference. So there's something like that. It is not that it is wrong, but you cannot experience it. It's not practical. It's not. It's not a journey that we are we should follow, because we are trying to follow a practical journey where we can actively get rid of raga, dvesha, and moha. So let's see how the moment occurs. So that is helpful in order to see how the world works, but you can never experience it with your mind. You can identify the theory with wisdom. That's the difference. When something comes to your mind, if it is, whether it's from your eye, whether it's from your ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind, only one thing can enter into your mind at a time. It's not actually entering, it's actually, because the causes align, it is occurring, or it is being, the effect is formed. Effect is a mind. And to identify this, to identify how this happens, it is better if we could identify or try to understand the 5 aggregates. So after understanding how 5 aggregates work and how 5 aggregates, and we'll try to explain how it connects with the Paticca Samuppada as well, and we'll try to understand how these 5 aggregates, um, this is actually a classification of the world. So you know what world is. Oh, world is actually, the term in Sinhala and in Pali as well is loka. Loka means when we are associating with it, our blissfulness is reduced, or the vexation starts to build up. So our happiness, our peace, our um, our, our peaceful and independent nature is eliminated or reduced. When that is called loka. So loka, so the exact meaning of, the exact translation of loka is world, but it does not give that meaning, English meaning of world. It's something different when it comes to the Arya explanation. But in lay explanation, yes, the English translation and the Sinhala and Pali meanings are same. But when it comes to Arya translation, it's something different. An English term or the meaning of the word does not is not compatible with the Arya meaning. So let's say now there are different classifications of this word, of the term world. So we can divide it according to ayatanas. We can divide it according to 5 aggregates of Pancakkhandha. And we can divide it, the word, or classify this word according to Paticca Samuppada. And we already did that. We divided this word through a Paticca Samuppada cycle and try to understand how this world works. So if we try to understand the 5 aggregates, let's I hope you can see.
Screen is visible, Thero.
Yeah. So it goes like Rupa Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, and Vijnana. So we can divide the whole world into these 5 categories. Let's say this world is relative to everyone. So for you, the world is relative to you. So let's say if you do not have a mind, or if the mind does not emanate the thoughts, the process of the mind, or how the thought process or the train of thoughts does not occur. And this is actually a process where inputs come from the 5 senses, and it is processed in the mind, and you get the feeling of consciousness. If this does not occur, no matter how much things are there in the outside world, you would not know. You wouldn't be able to comprehend because the consciousness is gone. So you do not experience world. See, now Supreme Buddha has attained supreme bliss of Nibbana. So there's no consciousness. Since he attained supreme bliss. So no matter how many sounds are there in this outside world, no matter how many images are there and other things are there, there's no world for him. There's no negative side or the vexation being built up because of the association with these things, because there's no world. For us, for me, the world is different from me right now. So I'm in Sri Lanka, and I'm in a chair I am sitting in a chair and I am delivering this. So my around, what I am seeing, what I am hearing, what I am sensing through my nose, tongue, body, and my mind is totally different from somebody else who is living in another area. So the world is different from person to person, from moment to moment. So this world, so you have to understand that the world, we are not referring to the word, the meaning of the word world that is explained in English here. So it's different. So this is the word. This is one explanation. Another one is I, and image, and Chakku Vijnana. Those are the 18 ayatanas. So 18 ayatanas, 18 has 3 parts for each modality. I, we call it Chakku. Image, and this is called Rupa. And the third one is consciousness about seeing, or we call it Chakku Vijnana. And likewise, there are 18. So 6 into 3. So there's nose or ear and sound and sota vijnana. And there's nose and smell and ghana vijnana. And for the tongue, it's taste and jivha vijnana. And for the body, it's body and touch and pottabha vijnana. And for mind, it's mind, thoughts, and mano vijnana. So there are 18 ayatanas there. So that's a different classification. So we are focusing on Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, and Vijnana. So in that explanation, Rupa means patterns. So Rupa means images in some texts, or in some context, or in some explanations. We have to take the meaning of this word according to the context of the sutta. So here in Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana, the meaning of Rupa is like something like patterns. So there are 6 kind of Rupa, that is image patterns, sound patterns, and smell patterns, taste patterns, and touch patterns, and then thought patterns. So why these are called patterns? So image is actually a combination of colors. That's a pattern. And sound is actually a combination of waves or vibrations. That's a pattern. And smell is also something like that. So if you get different kind of smells and put together, and you get a perfume. So it's a pattern. You have to put this much of this, that much of that, and then all the ingredients are put together, you get this nice perfume. So it's a combination, pattern. Taste is also like that. You put some salt, you put some what do you call chili, or you put some sugar, and when everything is mixed together, get a pattern, taste pattern. And these patterns differ from one to another based on what is um, being mixed in what proportions. So it's therefore touch as well. So the amount of temperature in the touch, the amount of hardness in the touch, when there's a change, we get different patterns, and we feel different sensations. So for thoughts, it's also the same. It's kind of a pattern. You understand. If you understand about images, and you can understand the rest based on the image patterns. So there are 6 organs that can identify these patterns, and we call them, for images we have chakku, and for sound we have sota, and for smell we have gana, and for taste jivha, and for touch we have kaya, and for thoughts we have mano. So in English terms, we call them eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So when when these patterns are encountered by these external organs, internal organs, what happens? Then comes Vedana. Here, Vedana is the result. So you get the feeling of image, you get the feeling of sound, get the feeling of smell, feeling of taste, feeling of touch, feeling of thought. So even though we get the feeling, we cannot still identify. And the third part comes as sanya. So even though we identify, let's say we see a flower vase, And now we are saying that this is a vast vase full of flowers. But if we haven't seen a flower vase in our life before, we wouldn't be able to identify it. We wouldn't be able to recognize it. So recognition only comes because of past experience. If we have identified it before, then we would be able to identify that this is a flower vase. If not, we would not be able to identify it. But we would have this Vedana, and for Vedana, we would have a recognition that this is this kind of a. So if we know the round shape, still we would not be able to, if we were asked to explain this, and we do not have any data about a flower vase, we would say, and we would recognize from what we have. So we would, if we have seen clay, then we would say it's something made of clay. Now we know, we have recognized up to that level, but we do not know specifically it's a vase. So we would say that it is something made of clay. It is, if we have known the shape of round shape before, then we would say that this is a round shaped clay, made a thing that is made of clay, round shaped thing that is made of clay. And if we have known about the colors, we would say, and there are some things inside it, and it's of purple color or red color. So that would be our recognition. So for that also to occur, we should have past experience with it. We should have data, and this recognition is called sanya. And after the recognition, so I would explain sankara later. And when this recognition occurs, what happens? We would be able to actively, and the consciousness about seeing occurs. And for others also, for sound, hearing, for smell, we have this smelling, and for taste we have tasting, touch, we have feeling of touch, and thought we have thinking. So consciousness about this occurs with the vijnana. So this whole process did not occur, it is not a passive process actually. It should actually occur or actively occur in your mind. So now let's get here again. We have a image and we have the eye. So when we are seeing this image from our eye, what we get is a chakku vijnana, and that is, this is physical, and beyond this is metaphysical. So when we are in the metaphysical part, we have to create it. So this is the original copy. So we cannot get the original copy into the metaphysical area. So what we get is a photocopy or a mental copy. So to create this mental copy, you have to create it. So that's sankara. Sankara does not stop there. So this is also sankara, creation. Oh, so we are creating something. So the mental copy, and we call it chakku vijnana, the mental copy. And for recognition to happen, now this is processed again. Now this processing part happens all at once. But for explanation purposes, we are explaining it like this, but when there's Vedana, where there's Sanya at the same time, Sankhara at the same time. Now you can see the Sankhara. Since when the Vedana is formed, the effect or the active creation of it is called Sankhara. So here feeling is Vedana and creation of it is Sankhara, and that happens at the same time. And for that, a recognition, a small, at least a small recognition also happens at the same time. So this last four occurs at the same time. So recognition also happens at the same time. Recognition and also consciousness about the feeling, because when the feeling is occurring, we are always conscious about it. At least a small fraction of consciousness. For this fraction of feeling, you get this fraction of sankhara, sanya, and also vijnana. So all four occurs at the same time. One cannot last alone. If these four occur at the same time or does not occur at all. So rupa, these patterns should happen before this. So this is happening before, when this physical part happens before, and this happens after. So this is called Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. So this is the classification of, this is one classification of the word. And we were asked in most of the texts explained in Pali Canon, we were asked to see this Pancakkhandha or five aggregates. Now, in lay people does not see five aggregates as five aggregates. They see it as a Pancupadanakkhandha. So this, there's Pancakkhandha and there's Pancupadanakkhandha. So there's a different here. There's something called Upadana. So when this is actually a process, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. What happens when attachment occurs here? Then the result is Pancupadanakkhandha. So even an Arhat would have these Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. But since this part is not there in an Arhat, the Pancupadanakkhandha would not be occurring. So let's see how the moment occurs. So for a fraction of Rupa, so we saw before that there's this Rupa, and through this eye, the Chakku Vijnana was formed. So when this Chakku Vijnana was formed, we get Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. So everything is there. So this is Rupa. So for a fraction of Rupa, fraction of image, we get fraction of Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. So in a timeline here, this is the present, this is the past, and this is the future. What happens? We called it present, and the name, the term given in Sinhala is Vartamana. Varta means reflection, refraction. We can call it reflection. Mana means what we have measured. So let's see how this term gives the perfect meaning for the term moment or present. So this, after understanding this, I'd understand that actually we cannot experience the present moment, but we are experiencing the past and not the present. And we cannot experience the moment. What we are experiencing is actually past. So let's say now you have to identify, actually understand about Citta Vithi as well, to a extent to understand this. So when the Chakku Vijnana, so our mind works like this. It's actually a continuous formation of thoughts. So here we have consciousness. So since we are humans, and we have created a body and a mind through karmic energy. This karmic energy wells this consciousness. If it is for 80 years, it would continue to create the consciousness of the mind, or that we call that bhavanga chitta. That is the neutral state. We can call it neutral state. So there's a neutral state in our mind that works always, even in our sleep. The only thing is we do not actively recall it when we are asleep. Otherwise, see, if you are writing something, and if you are very focused on something, or on a paper, or a book, if you have a clock that rings at 1 hour hourly intervals, so if the 12 o'clock, if you can, on normal days, you can hear the sound of 12, the sound of the clock, which indicates that it's 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. or 1 p.m., 2 p.m. So you get 2 sounds, 3 sounds, like that. There are clocks that gives out that sound. So if you are embedded, if you are fully engaged in something, you cannot hear that sound. It's not that your ear did not vibrate, the eardrum did not vibrate. It's not that you did not, your ears were closed, but you did not recall it. If you did not recall it, you won't be able to create or consciously, actively identify what happened. So that's what that is how this system works. So bhavanga chitta. So as humans, through karmic energy, this bhavanga chitta would occur. So this bhavanga chitta is disturbed by 5 organs: eye, ears, nose, tongue, and body. Body means skin. That responds to touch. So when let's get this example where you see some image. So this is goes as bhavanga, bhavanga, and then when eyes hits the image, a chakku vinyana is formed. So chakku. So this is ready to take an input from any of the five organs. So this is like a car or a vehicle that is moving forward. So now this is moving in let's say 20 kilometers per hour. So this has to stop in order to get into another track. So now we have to change the track. So it was going in this, it was not disturbed, and it was going in this speed. And now the next one is slowing down. That is called bhavanga chalana and bhavanga upachedaka. Bhavanga chalana, bhavanga upachedaka. So at this point, this comes to a halt, 0. And then again another one starts, Panchadravarjana. So recalling. And after recalling, another one occurs, Chakku Vinyana. Now a Chakku Vinyana is formed. And after Chakku Vinyana, Panchadravarjana, Chakku Vinyana, and then Santirana, Sampatichana, and Vattapana. There are another 3. So these are actually minds that processes this Chakku Vinyana. And Vattapana is actually about, this is where you take decisions. Here you would decide how you act based on this Chakku Vinyana, whether you reject it, whether you get attached to it, whether you become neutral about it. There are many options, and this option is taken at this mind. And after that, you would execute what you decided. And there are 7 minds. We call it Javana. And there are 7 of them, Javana. And the power of Javana would it's actually like rotating a wheel. So you rotate somewhat here and increases here, more increased here, and fully increased here, and then again reduced to the lowest amount here. So it's like here it increases, power of it again increases more, and reduces. And then this vehicle has changed its tracks now. It was going like this and it changed back to something else. And now it's going somewhere else. And now after this, there are 2 called Tadarambana. And in that, now this is another track, and now it's 20 kilometers per hour in this other track. Now you have to stop this, and stopping is done in this 2 chittakshana. These are called actually chittakshana, bhavanga chittakshana. And this is recalling. This is bhavanga chalana, bhavanga upachedaka, panchadravarjana, chakku vinyana, santirana, sampatichana, vattapana, 7 javanas and 2 tadarambanas, where this other mind or train of thoughts has to come to a halt, because now you have to get back into the normal bhavanga. Again, you go back to the bhavanga. Now you cannot feel in this, the feeling or the element of feeling does not occur here. Another 4, this is called a Citta Vithi. Now we learned from this bhavanga, up to the Bhavanga, when it reaches Bhavanga again, the in-between had 17 Chittakshana. And this 17th Chittakshana is, if we take it as a whole or a group, we call this Citta Vithi. Now this is a Vithi. And this Citta Vithi is just to identify what entered. So this Chittakshana, the speed of it actually is like, for 1 second, trillions and quadrillions of these Chittakshana, Citta Vithi occurs in a mind. So this is a very, very, very hard thing to even understand. You cannot experience it. You can never experience it. And there's only one way to experience it. You have to become a Supreme Buddha. That is the only way to experience this phenomenon. Otherwise, you can identify. You can with your ability of what you call with your wisdom, you can use it and try to understand the anicca, dukkha, and anatta nature. That's the only way that we can use this. So after this Citta Vithi, this is called the first Citta Vithi. There are another 4 Citta Vithis that occurs purely in the mind. So there's no Chakku Vijnana recalling, but you recall the Chakku Vijnana, the recalling again happens, but you get the same Chakku Vijnana from the mind. So from the metaphysical realm, now it is there in the Namagotta. So if you know what Namagotta means, it is the mental copies of what you have seen, what you have heard, what you have smelled, and other, and so on. So you recall the same Chakku Vijnana, and another Citta Vithi occurs. And after that, based on that, another Citta Vithi occurs. And likewise, there are 4 Citta Vithis that occurs purely in the mind, that does not that is not interfered by outside images or eye or Chakku Vijnana. Now, after that, here, when this is, in the last Citta Vithi, there are also 7 javanas. So in that javana only, you would be able to identify what you saw. So actually, this fourth, when we are referring to Citta Vithis, this first Citta Vithi, millions and billions of this first Citta Vithi occurs. The fractions of Chakku Vijnana are compiled together, and from one Citta Vithi to another, it is the strongness or the clearness of it increases. So millions and billions of these Citta Vithis occur here in a second, and millions and billions of other these 4 Citta Vithis that purely occurs in the mind also occurs. And so therefore there are millions and billions of these last Citta Vithis as well. So in that last Citta Vithis, there are millions and billions of Chittakshana that occurs, which creates this javana. And through this javana only, you would be able to identify what you saw. So now, actually, we do not want to know these things in order to attain nibbana. It's helpful, but it's not essential. So, but since we have already learned this or identified, recognized the pattern, now the most important conclusions can be made. So what's the conclusion? We got this timeline, and we tried to explain this timeline, where this is past, where this is present, and where this is future, and the middle is, here is present. So if we refer back to the what we tried to understand before, now you could not see, or you could not you did not have the ability to see in the moment the Chakku Vijnana was formed. And there you had to go through a series of Citta Vithi in order to get to the fourth Citta Vithi that occurs purely in the mind, in order to see. That means consciousness about seeing occurred here. So actually, the world has moved when you are seeing this. So it's actually not the moment that you are seeing. You are seeing the past, because it has to go through a process in order for you to see. So if you identify that, then the word Vartamana. So mana means measured things. So you measured it. So if we get the last we get this one. So you measured it. You had millions and billions of fractions of Chakku Vijnana compiled together, measuring them and processing them up until this one. Until the last one where you were able to see. And this took good 1 to 2 or 3 to 4 seconds. So that's how this took so long. So now you are actually seeing, or actually seeing something in the, maybe not 3 to 4 seconds, but maybe 1/10 of a second or something. So you are actually seeing something in the past. So since you have measured it, you created this Chakku Vijnana, again this Chakku Vijnana, again this one, and millions of them. So, and you what you did, now the time is passing when this happens. So this is time is passing, and what you do is you get this, and you keep this next, and you get this next, and get this next, and you create a picture in your mind what you saw from fractions of Chakku Vijnana. So actually what you are doing is you are reflecting, or refraction or reflection of Chakku Vijnanas, and measuring. And measuring and reflection, when you put together, you get Vartamana. So that's how the present, this is called present in English. But Vartamana, this gives the Arya meaning, this gives the lay meaning when you refer it to as present. But Vartamana is the real, it also explains the mechanism of how a moment occurs. Moment is something that already passed. So you cannot catch the moment. It is there, but moment is always something which has passed. So when you know about this, now the ultimate purpose of knowing everything about these mechanisms and everything is about understanding anicca, dukkha, and anatta. That's the sole purpose of this. So you can understand this through this technique. Why? You will never be able to experience the moment. What you are experiencing is something already died. Now that's something that is not something that we can be happy about. So it enhances our feeling of pointlessness, essencelessness about this world. Because if we cannot experience what is there, and what we are experiencing is already gone, our struggle to latch on to things, our struggle to stop getting decayed, getting destroyed, is actually cannot be succeeded. That's we have already lost the struggle. It's like watching a football match. We have already lost thinking that we would win. We have already lost. The two teams has gone already, and all the people who are watching the match also has gone because the match is over. But we are still there hoping that our team would win, because it's already we are experiencing something already dead. So we are trying to save, because based on what we get into our mind, based on the chakku vijnana, based on the avidya that formed out of this on this chakku vijnana, we decide that we have to save this thing, we have to protect this thing, um, we have to associate with these valuable, blissful feelings. But when the thought is occurring in your mind, the original object has already died. And the other thing is, we are seeing something, we are seeing some, we are seeing a image, and that is not physical. Wait a minute. So when we are seeing something, let's take a new one. So this image is here, and when this is seen through our eye, we only get this mental picture. You would never be able to experience the original one. We are experiencing a copy. So that's why to never be, we would never be able to get satisfied with this mental copy. We would never be able to, let's say it's a delicious plate of food, and it's the mouth that we are using. Here it goes to the stomach, not to the mind. It does not go to the mind. We only get the copy of this. And this copy, and since this copy starts vexation in our mind, we start looking for this original in the outside. But we would never be able to put it into our mind. And so it will always be a copy, just like a dog licking on a bone. Now the dog is licking on a bone, thinking that it has meat. But nothing goes into his stomach. What happens is vexation starts to build up in his mind, body, and it's always frustration. That animal would be frustrated that this animal could not treat the hunger it has. So it's something like that. So there are 2 points in this discussion that is very important to get into our minds. It's not about the how many Citta Vithis are there, how many Chittakshanas are there, what are the names of those. That's just a process. Process does not, understanding a process does not cultivate or develop wisdom in ourselves. Wisdom is developed through anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So we have to see the word as anicca, dukkha, and anatta using this story. So that's what we have to do. So let's, through these ones, seeing like this actually enhances the pointless nature of the world, enhances the essenceless nature of the world. What we are doing is pointless. What we are trying to do is not possible. It's impossible. And we are going after something that is in our mind, and we are looking after that thing which is in our mind in the outside world. And we would never be able to find that thing because it is in our minds. So that's what is happening. And we would never be able to catch the present moment, and we would never be able to hold on to the present moment because it's always the past experience that we are sensing. Or the present is actually not the present, it's actually the past. We would never be able to experience the present moment. And this moment also does not last long. It always ends up in Jara Marana, and that would give rise to sorrow, lamentation, physical and mental pain and despair. So that's the problem with this kind of a mechanism. And that's the problem with samsara. And that's what we have to get rid of. And that's what we should eliminate and find the supreme bliss. So you have to focus on the other side now. Now you have understood and you have focused on anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So try to enhance your idea or the enhance your feeling about anicca, dukkha, and anatta. It's a feeling, not a word, not a theory, not a process, nothing but a feeling. And to enhance the feeling of anicca, it's a it's a helpless feeling. It's the pointless feeling. It's the essenceless feeling you get. It's the anicca feeling and sorrow and suffering feeling that you get when you understand anicca, dukkha, and anatta. For that, since we cannot express feelings, and that is impossible, since we are using words, we are telling stories in order to cultivate that feeling in a other person's mind. So that's the only way we can express and communicate this anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So after understanding this feeling, what you have to understand is getting rid of this non-attachment, peace, and um, um, letting go of things, non-attachment and everything is the only way of blissfulness. Because doing something that cannot be done, doing something that is impossible is not something you would enjoy, and it always ends up in disappointment. So that's what you have to understand. So with that, you would go for questions again. And if you have any questions, I think this part is very, very technical. That what what I explained today, and if there can be problems in the understanding, and if you have any, you can ask. And there's another message. Focus more on the practical aspect, on day-to-day things that you can follow and you can understand, and try to implement this anicca, dukkha and anatta into your day-to-day activities. And it's not, see that when Supreme Buddha was there lively in his when Supreme Buddha was there alive, during the era, or during that era, there were no Pali canon. It was written later in the first. It was not written. It was prepared in the first Sanghayana. So 3 months after the passing away. So if that's the case, most of the monks didn't have much details or knowledge about Dhamma. Most of them had very minute level of knowledge about Dhamma, but that minute level was enough for them to end this Sansaric journey. So only Ananda Thero, who was the treasurer of all the Dhamma, had everything in his mind. Others only knew what they were told, and they were in different far away places without the ability to communicate like this, in like what we are having now. There were no communications. They did not know where Supreme Buddha even was, but they have done their part, and they have even attained Nibbana, and they have fulfilled their task with very small amount of understanding. It's not about the understanding, a very little amount of knowledge, but the understanding was comprehensive with that little Dhamma knowledge about Dhamma. So for everyone also, when you are practicing Dhamma, it's always about the practical aspect of getting rid of raga, getting rid of dvesha, and getting rid of moha. So it says in Kayanupassana, kaye kayanupassi viharati atapi sampajano satima vinaya loke abhijjado manassa. So it says you have to see this kaya or combination as anicca, dukkha and anatta. Our body is a combination. See, now we divided the combination into rupa, vedana, sanya, sankara and vijnana. So that's how we divided it. Now you have to see that this combination is what creates the world for us. So let's see now. Rupa is like this, Vedana is like this, Sanya, Sankara, and Vijnana. When these 5 components are kept or kept together like this, one on another, so you get 5 of these on top of others. So you get to see the self. But when you divide it, you get Rupa, not you. You get Vedana, not you. You get Sanya, Sankara, and Vijnana. Now you see this is a process. And when these things are all kept together, and when you are seeing everything synchronized well, in order to create the self, then you see the self, or the idea of me and myself, and especially the idea of control. You think that this is controlled by someone called me. So if you, even though you think that this is something controlled by me, actually it is a process. So Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana, this process, when it's like there's a, I think we explained this in the other day also, there's a ball of fire, and when you rotate it, you see a ring of fire. And this ring of fire is what gives rise to this delusional feeling of control. And that control is actually said me. You can operate, but you cannot control. The control is actually happening through the Paticca Samuppada cycle, which gives rise to everything that we discussed here. So Rupa and Vedana, here you are not doing it, but what is happening when I meet the image, a Chakku Vijnana is formed. You don't have any control over it. And the recognition also happens. You don't have any control over it. So Sankara, that process is being happening, and the processing here, this is called processing. Processing also happening, and the consciousness occurs. So that you cannot stop, that decays and dies at the end, which is called Jara Marana, and another Rupa. So it can be a sound image, sound pattern enters your ear, and you create a Sota Vijnana, and the same thing happens. And in between, mind, the Citta Vithis that occurs in the mind processes these things, creates what is or creates conclusions out of avidya, creates conclusions out of wisdom. And when everything is happening in a very high speed, and when everything is very well synchronized, we see a person who can do things. Actually, it's a mirage, it's a delusion. That's the most important part and most hardest to understand. It's the hardest to understand, and as well as it's the finest to understand. This is very fine details, but it is important to understand these. When the samadhi develops, when the Dhamma samadhi is developing, you'd be able to understand. Initially, what you have to go through is the anicca, dukkha, and anatta nature of the world, how this world becomes essenceless, and you have to focus more on the questions that you can ask when you are practicing Dhamma, how you can get rid of the day-to-day sufferings you have in your life, because that would actually may give you a very important experience of how this works. When you are able to get rid of the sufferings now you are facing in your life, you would know how this Dhamma can be actively put into practice to get rid of sufferings in your day-to-day life. And with that, with that, with that understanding, with that ability of with that experience you already got, you would be able to copy it, or you would be able to duplicate it in other aspects as well when suffering is occurring, and that would actually develop your chintamaya panya. So this goes like this. So initially you had Suttamaya Jnana. Suttamaya Jnana, if you don't have Suttamaya Jnana, then you wouldn't be able to understand this. Then Suttamaya Jnana changes into Suttamaya Panya. Panya means wisdom. Suttamaya means hearing. So you got, so when you have this Suttamaya Jnana, or you are a human who are able to develop wisdom. Some humans cannot. So only a human who can develop wisdom because of the causes he or she has created along the pathway, Sansaric journey, he gets the Suttamaya Jnana. And if a Kalyana Mitra is met, that means a Kalyana noble friend. So through the Kalyana Mitra, this Suttamaya Jnana is converted to Suttamaya Panya. And Suttamaya Panya, after Suttamaya Panya, you need to develop Chintamaya Panya. And this wisdom, Chintamaya means thinking. So when you are thinking about Dhamma, when you are practicing Dhamma, your thought process develops and your wisdom develops. That's Chintamaya Panya. And the last one is Bhavanamaya Panya. So Bhavana means using. So you would be able to use it. When the Chintamaya Panya develop, this would be used in your day-to-day life. And that is Bhavana. Bhavana is, the normal term is meditation, and meditation also is using. So you'd be able to use it actively in your day-to-day life to get rid of the suffering and all the sufferings, ultimately attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana. So that concludes the explanation. And if you have any questions, you can ask, and we will continue this discussion based on the questions.
Here we are getting not necessarily the question, but one was we are saying that there was an earlier question asked and that was clarified with this answer. And others would like to go through some of the sermons and ask. So again, we invite, if you have any questions, utilize the time. We've got around 25 minutes left from the usual 2 hours we spend. So if there are anything that you'd like to get clarification, as Thero said, it's quite technical, but if you focus on the idea that is given through it, and if you want that to be clarified further, how that becomes, why is it so in that, and such, feel free to, or anything else for that matter, feel free to ask or put into text. We'll give a little time. Thank you. Here, I think it appears that we do not have any questions at the moment.
Yeah.
Would you like to, do you want to summarize anything, or how do you want to take it forward, Thero?
Now the thing is, if this is actually interaction, and this through this interaction, what you get are what you have created before. So when you have, when in this Sansaric journey, you might have created lot of meritorious deeds. That's why you are getting such an opportunity to be born in a supreme, in an era of supreme Dhamma, and the ability to understand the Dhamma also is received because of this meritorious power. So it's like you have done so much work and you have earned so much money and you have put it in the bank, and now after some time you have you went to the bank or you went to the ATM and you are withdrawing your money or withdrawing the money you have deposited in the bank. So if you did not withdraw, then the money will be there, and you are rich, but the money is there, but you are not buying any food, you are not buying any clothes, you are not buying any vehicles, houses, or nothing. It's there in the bank, but you're not doing anything about it. So it's very important that you ask questions, and it's very important that your bank money is being withdrawn so that others also will be helped, or others who also will be benefited by it, and most you would be benefited. And since what is needed for your pathway, it would be put out or pushed out of this from the ATMs, and it's like the story is simple like that. So it's better if you could interact and ask questions at least in the chat, because if you won't get practical questions if you do not start practicing it, and the practical questions are the most important ones. And if the understanding about anicca dukkha anatta is a problem, or if you have any problem with the very basics we have discussed before, that's totally fine to ask, because it's not easy to understand this. Because if this is an easy task, we would have done it already. The Sansaric journey is so long, still we haven't been able to do it. So if this was an easy task, we would have done it by now. But it's not easy. But if the causes align, the effect is inevitable. So that's the thing. The ability, or we cannot control. The ability of control is not within us. So according to our wish, that part should be there. So according to our expectation, we cannot control this. So it is controlled according to Paticca Samuppada cycle. So if you focus and if you try to focus on your day-to-day activities, so you can see that everything that you do is actually to get rid of vexation. So we have discussed this before. Since you have the understanding about Paticca Samuppada now, you would be able to understand a new side of it. So let's say you woke up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, now it's always about treating vexations. Your whole life is about treating vexations. So when you wake up, what happens? Maybe you want to go to the washroom. Maybe you want to have something because you are hungry, or maybe you are thirsty. So based on what vexation you have and to what extent, if the vexation for going to the washroom is more, you would straight away go to the washroom, use the washroom. And if you are more hungrier than using the washroom, then you would go to the kitchen. And You think that you are controlling this, but actually what happens is you are treating this Paticca Samuppada chakra cycle, which actually try to eliminate vexation, starts to occur, and it is operated at that point. So you go to the washroom. When you end doing what is necessary, you are not staying in the washroom because it's a mental vexation. Staying in the washroom is not a happy feeling, so you get out of the washroom, and then based on what problem you have next, you would go to the kitchen and you would prepare something. Preparing food is tiresome, and it is not it has a suffering element in it. But when you are hungry, you would not care, because the suffering sensation because of hunger is more than the suffering that it gives when you are cooking. So you would straight away do what is necessary and fill your belly and drink water when you are thirsty. And after that, you cannot stay at home because your mental vexation starts to build up. You have other senses that needs constant maintenance. You need food, you need shelter, you need clothes, you need other things that you have in your mind, because you have vexatious mindsets that you have already created. We call them vinyana. So because of them, you get the idea that I have to go to work, I have to do my job. I have to be there on time. Otherwise, I would be punished. My salary would be cut. So, because of these kinds of mindsets, that those are vexatious mindsets, you would go to the work on time. And at the workplace, there are various rules and regulations. They are put because they need you aligned with their work, and their agenda there. So what would happen is that you get this vexatious mindset that if you do not work, you would get scolded, you would get blasted on, and the salary would be reduced, and you would be demoted and everything. And because of that mindset, you would work you would work efficiently, and at the end you would come home because you don't like staying at the office, because you find the home blissful. And the mindset of being in the office is vexatious. To get rid of this vexatious mindset, you go to your home, and after going home, still you have different kind of vexations in your mind. So some like watching TV, some like listening to music, some like preparing very delicious food, some like having alcohol and other drugs. Whatever it is, now the mental vexation starts to build up. Now now it's 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 6:30 p.m. Now it's the time for my favorite show. Now it's time to listen to music. That vexatious mindset would start to pop up in your mind constantly, just like a beeping sound, and you would obey. You would just start watching TV, and this would go as long as the mind is treated. So as long as the vexation is being treated, is fully treated. So when that is happening, what if you feel more sleepier? And when if the vexation of sleepiness is more than the blissfulness you get from watching TV, you would straight away turn off the television, turn off what you are doing, and you would go to the bed and you would sleep. Just like you choose what to do just after you woke up. So it's a journey, it's an endless journey, it's a meaningless, pointless journey that you are stuck in. You are stuck in that journey. You are stuck in that Paticca Samuppada. You are stuck in this samsara where you don't have any control over your expectations. What you are doing is your expectations are actually occurring because of your vexation. So your expectation is to eat. Why? Because you are vexatious. So your vexations are actually um, fueling your expectations. Even though your expectations are there, they cannot be met according to, they cannot always meet their, the expectations are not always met. Why? Because this is anicca, dukkha, and anatta. I'll give you an example. So let's say there is a vehicle, and in this vehicle you have a brake pedal, an accelerator, a gear stick, and a steering wheel. But this is not the correct, or this is a lie, and they are not the right. The right controllers. Actually, the right controllers are behind these controllers. So in the back seat, there's a steering wheel. Again, another steering wheel, which actually works. A brake pedal, accelerator, and a gearbox, which actually works. Now the set of controllers which are in front, they do not actually work. They are there. So a person who does not know this get into the vehicle and put the key in and start the vehicle. But the person behind is actually imitating what the person in front is doing. So he thinks that he is driving the vehicle, the person in front. But actually, the person behind is driving the vehicle. And here he is just imitating the actions of the person in front. So what if the person in front turned the steering wheel to the left, and the person behind did not do it? Then the person in front starts panicking. What is happening? I lost control of my vehicle. That would be his original idea. But in reality, he never had the control of the vehicle. He never had it. The person behind was controlling it. And the person behind it is actually the Paticca Samuppada. Now, Paticca Samuppada is controlling this Sansaric vehicle. And we think that we are controlling it. Since sometimes what we are doing is imitated, or is the result which is given by the avidya or whatever the Paticca Samuppada cycle, and our expectation is the same, we get tricked. We get tricked that we are doing it, and we are controlling this, and we are able to do it. But most of the time, when the two does not align together, the result is soka parideva dukkha domana supayas. So that's suffering. So that's how the vexatious mindset, or baffled mindset, was created in that person who was seated in front when the vehicle was turned left, but it was just going straight. Then that person would think this what do you call this vehicle is broken. Something has happened. Something has broken here, and he would just put it into the garage and get it repaired. And the person would say that now it is okay. Now you can use it again. But still, the driver is not the person. It's avidya. So you do various kinds of things to get it fixed when things did not go according to your way. You try to fix it and say, now it's okay. Now I can control it according to my expectation, but it does not occur. Cannot control it according to your expectation. It never was controlled according to your expectation, and you will never be able to control it according to your expectation. It is another mechanism. So that's what you need to understand, and that is called anicca. So this is the ultimate understanding that you should have. And when you admit that you have lost the game, so you do not accept that you have lost already. See, now you are cheering a team which had already lost. You don't have a say in what should be done. The thing is already happened. So this Paticca Samuppada, the story of Paticca Samuppada is like that. You don't have any say over it. You have already lost. If the Paticca Samuppada starts, it always ends up in Soka Parideva Dukkha Domana Supaya. So you have already lost. So the only way is non-emanation. So, or not emanating the Paticca Samuppada. So that's then if something is not emanated, then it cannot end, it cannot change, it cannot give a vexatious feeling. So that's letting go, that's non-attachment, and that's peace, and that's Nibbana. So that is the idea you should have.
Thank you very much, Thero, for that explanation. There are two questions posted. I'll read both. I don't know whether you want to take it together and whether the second one is clear enough. The first says, doesn't the illusion start if Nama doesn't catch Rupa? And the second question is, if there is no attachment, isn't self born? I'm not sure. Wouldn't it be Sakkaya Vithi to get rid of the attached rather than the self?
Now we'll explain this Sakkaya Vithi, Vicikiccha, and Silabbata Paramasa on a different day, and it's a bit of a large topic to discuss today, I think, right now, and it's a good topic to discuss as well. So after explaining Sakkaya Vithi and what is Sakkaya Vithi, what is Vicikiccha, what is Silabbata Paramasa, Kamaraga, Paticca, and Ruparaga, Manuddacha Avidya, those are the 10 Sangyojana Dhamma which binds us to this Sansaric suffering. And when these 10 bonds are broke or 10 bonds are eliminated, then that is the end, and that is Arihat state. So it's good that we can, if it's good if we can have a session on these 10 bonds that bind us to this Sansaric journey. So the first one, doesn't the illusion start if the Nama doesn't catch Rupa? So the illusion, it's actually the consciousness wants. So let's say now there's a world called Asanya Satta. In Asanya Satta, there's a mind, there's a body, but the mind does not occur. So that in that you call that in the 5 aggregates you only have Rupa and not Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. So it's like your Sansaric journey is paused. So it's paused. The mind does not occur, but it's not ended, but paused. So as soon as the karmic energy which fills this Asanya Satta ends, as soon as it ends, the mind starts to occur again. So it's like a deep sleep for about 500 eons. So the sleep is so long, you don't know what happened. You have no idea where you are. You are seated in the same position for 500 eons with the same image, no change, nothing, no mind, no thoughts or train of thoughts, no thought process occurring, no bhavanga that we discussed before, and it is all forced by karmic energy, what he practiced before. So in that person, there's no illusion at that point, but the ability or the tendency for it still exists because it's only paused. So when the pause is gone, when it again resumes, what happened? The person's Sansaric journey would be same as before. So the pause was for nothing. It did not do anything at all. So that's totally a waste of time. So I explained this the story about Asanya Satta, so you could easily identify what the question, what is meant by the question. So I understand what is meant by the question. So doesn't the illusion start if Nama doesn't catch Rupa? If Nama and Rupa does not meet, that means if this Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana does not occur at the same time. Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana just after Rupa, then there's no consciousness. There's no world at that point. But there's no way to stop that because that is Vipaka. So eye meeting images is vipaka. Sound meeting ear is vipaka. And this vipaka, the body and mind which is made of vipaka would anyway work according to the way it is made. So it's like a clock. So you have the wall clock, and if you see at the mechanism of it, there are a lot of cogwheels, and there's a place for the battery. And when you put the battery, this cogwheel starts to turn, and on the other side, the hands show the time on the dial. So just like that, you cannot change what is there. It would just show the time. You cannot change the mechanism. So you cannot attain nibbana by stopping images meeting eye. It has already created and the mechanism is always there. What you can do is you can stop the creation. When you know about the mechanism of how it is being created, and when you know that avidya is the problem and avidya is what creates this world, and when you get rid of avidya, when you see avidya as avidya, we do not see avidya as avidya. We see avidya as, and we do not see avidya. That's the problem. If we see avidya, it's not avidya anymore, it's wisdom. Because seeing avidya is like when you are able to see, the darkness is already gone. When you are in the darkness, you are not able to see. Something like that. So if this is able to this is not possible because I means the image and Chakku Vijnana is formed, and that Citta Vithi and everything is formed in your mind and you don't have any control over it. That's the problem. And that is called anicca. And that anicca, dukkha and anatta would reduce the value that you give to this world. And that reduction of the value given to this world would reduce the attachment, and that would reduce the suffering. And since avidya is value, and since the value is reducing, avidya would reduce. Since the avidya is reduced, and since the avidya is the thing that creates this world, and reduction of avidya would eliminate the creation of the world for you. So Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana would not be formed at the end when you reached Anupadisesa Nibbana. So that would be the end of the story. So that I hope that explains what you asked. If not, if that is not what you asked, then clarify the question, please? So we are able to give a comprehensive answer. If there's no attachment, isn't self born? Yeah. If the attachment goes to zero, if we go back to the Paticca Samuppada cycle. So this is a Paticca Samuppada cycle that we did not explain that much.
Thero, you're not
And
on
we can
screen share, so
yeah.
sure.
So here there's a Paticca Samuppada for birth that's happening through. So let's write the Paticca Samuppada first. So I think you remember the explanation of the oil lamp. So in the explanation of the oil lamp, there's a chemical reaction that is happening. Oxygen plus hydrocarbon equals carbon, that gives the results as carbon dioxide and water. And this is an exothermic reaction, so it gives out energy, and that is how this flame is being created. So oxygen number 1 with hydrocarbon number 1 gives out the flame number 1. So this is flame number 1. Since the inputs are changed to something else, now the number 1 is gone, this number 1 is also gone, and this flame number 1 cannot last, it also dies, giving room for another flame to occur. So the oxygen number 2 comes through the atmosphere through the concentration gradient, and through the wick here the hydrocarbon goes through the concentration gradient, and the temperature here breaks the bonds of this hydrocarbon molecule, again creating exothermic reaction, giving rise to flame number 2. And the same process would occur and flame number 3, 4, and it goes on. So just like that, this is how the world occurs. We saw the world, how the Jara Marana occurs, how we cannot latch on to the moment through this example of the flame. So let's say our life is 80 years. So we were born here and we die here. So for the 80 years, this is the story of us. So the flame started with number 1, and this is baby number 1, and this is the elderly person number n, and it is the end of story. So in between there are billions and trillions, and we cannot actually number it in millions and billions, and we would have to find new numbers here. So let's say this flame, we can understand out of our wisdom that this flame, this explanation should be understood through our wisdom. And if we try to apply it to a second, maybe billions of flames might have occurred in that millisecond. So that's how the world is. So this jati. So let's say the person is 79 years and this is the last second of his life. This is the last second. So in the last second, just after this Paticca Samuppada, the next jati, now this is the human jati right now, the next jati, he becomes a dog. So that's how this is going to happen. So this is the shifting, this is the transit. We are trying to understand it. So this is the dog avidya, the person should have dog avidya. So here he must have liked doing dog like things what dogs do, and he must have valued it, and he must have done dog like sankara. And as a human, not as a in these 80 years, he might have done a lot of dog like sankara, and dog like mindset is there, and dog like namarupa, creating dog like salayatana. What are dog like salayatana? So you know that dogs are not like humans. They are actually mischievous, and they are actually what you call them, uh, not calm and quiet creatures. They have a very agitated mindset: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So let's say this is this when someone meets. So let's say some elderly person, an innocent elderly person, is walking by the road, and the person who has dog like avidya values uh, bliss or pleasure by hurting that elderly person. So what he does is he goes for sankara. He takes a small piece of stone, or he takes a stone and hits that elderly person, and that elderly person gets angry and scolds at that young person who is now creating dog-like sankara with the dog-like avidya, and he is very happy to see that the person is scolding, and he uh, yells at the old person and again gets a stone and hits at that person. And that kind of a mindset is not something that a human salayatana would enjoy. So this person's eyes, everything is minus, so that he can enjoy that kind of a scenario. That kind of a odd scenario is enjoyed by this type of salayatana, because his minyana, or the vexatious mindset creates this salayatana through nama rupa, and this vedana becomes delusional and very unethical, and it is actually a blissful vedana. Delusional bliss is felt, but a normal person would not enjoy it. He would rather scold that young person. Why are you hurting that old innocent man who is walking by on the street? It's not funny, it's not blissful, it's not a happy, pleasurable thing to do. But that person who is doing it, since he has created salayatana out of this avidya process, now he is enjoying it and he attaches to it. Now this is where attachment occurs. Attach and stick to it out of attachment, and we can see a process of a person who is enjoying the dog-like behavior. So a process of dog-like behavior is seen, or dog-like state of being gives right to dog-like jati, and that is what he practiced over these 80 years. So in this bhava, we said that there's karma bhava and there's uppatti bhava. And now we are going to discuss about Uppati Bhava, not about the Karma Bhava. Now here, now since he has practiced this so much in his life, he has created a lot of karmic energy in the Karma Bhava. So this Karma Bhava at the last minute of his life, actually can happen during the last years of his life. Now the environment is being created for this person, for him to become a dog. So we know that eyes, yes. So we know that images meeting eye and sounds meeting ear and so on is actually a result of karma bhava. So this karmic energy, karmic energy. So this karmic energy deposited in the karma bhava creates this meeting, and he meets the perfect environment for him to become a dog. So he likes the dog-like behavior, but the person does not like to become a dog. That's avidya. So if a person knows that if I act like this, if I act like a dog, I would become a dog, then he would not like the result, so he would not do the thing. So it's like we like the flame, but if we touch it, the consequences, we do not like the result. The small children, small toddlers like to touch the flames, which is actually which can cause a burning scar. So since the person does not, or the small child does not know the result, he would just do the act, and he would suffer, and he would learn the lesson, and he would never touch a flame again. Since we are beings of avidya, beings full of avidya, just like the small child, we do not know the result, but we like the act. So we perform the act, and the result would come, and we would not like the result, and there's no controlling. We don't have any control over what's going to happen if we are create the results already. So at the end of this, what happens, this is the last cycle is going to go. This is at the end. Now not the karmic bhava, but the karma bhava, but the upati bhava occurs. So avidya, sankara, and here vijnana ends up in jati. So this is the dog like jati. The dog like mindset is created, and this dog like mindset goes to a actual real dog, and in that dog's womb, this is going to embedded, and the things that are being eaten by this dog would create the exact same copy. Just this is like a magnetic copy. So if we put a paper here and put iron powder on top of it, the shape of the magnet would be seen. Just like that, a dog would be created, and a dog would be born, a small puppy would be born, and that's the outside story of it. This is what is happening in the mind. Everything, all the Paticca Samuppada, until this is born, this is metaphysical, not physical. Physical part happens later, when it goes to the womb, and when it is being changed into a physical, not changed, coated by a physical body. So avidya, now the whole environment here is being formed by karmic energy, and this is, since this is the last of this of his human life. The next one, since he is becoming a dog, this is called Uppati Bhava. Now the Uppati Bhava is created here. So since the karmic energy comes and so at the deathbed, what happens is his eyes get shut, ears get shut, nose gets shut, tongue gets shut, body gets shut, and his mind becomes so open, and it becomes so powerful. Now, since everything is shut down, now he is seeing images of him going in that road. The thing he did practice so much is he is seeing by him at the deathbed. So he is just walking by the street, and that old man is in front of him. So he's seeing this as just like a movie. Now the old man is in front of him. So what happens? Now he gets a small stone because he likes it. He has this avidya. This Paticca Samuppada cycle, which is written here, would just start to occur. And this Paticca Samuppada cycle would start. He would just do the sankara act of hitting that person, and this mindset would be created, and everything, this tanha upadana bhava, and since all the karmic energy has ending this human flame, a new flame or a new oil lamp with the flame of a dog would be created, and that would go for about 12 years. That might be the lifespan of a dog, and that is the end of the story for that person. Now he is in the four hells, one of the four hells, animal hell. So you don't have any control over what's going to happen at the end. That's why in most of the religions, it is said that be kind, help others, and do good, and those are actually explaining either human, either godlike, or either Brahma-like behavior, so that you get rid of these four hells. But since you have not practiced it, since the person that we explained here has not practiced it, and has liked dog-like behavior, and did not, even though he did not like to become a dog, since the process is not controlled by us, it is a cause and effect cascade. This cascade would end up end making the person a dog. So that's the, and that would be the end of the story. So if the Mr. Dileepa, can you repeat the question, whether I have to see whether I have covered the whole question, or whether I have any more to cover?
That particular question, Thero, is if there is no attachment, isn't self-born, and after that it was talking about.
Yeah. Now I have to clarify the last part. So there's attachment here. So this self, which is a dog here, was born because of the avidya, or the value given for the dog-like behavior, and the attachment to the dog-like behavior. And it's the same for other species as well. If it's a god, then you should have god-like avidya and god-like tanha, giving and creating a god. If it's a Brahma, the same story applies. So you'd have Brahma avidya and do Brahma sankara. Though for God avidya, you are just giving people, helping others, doing good, and that would create. And if you had a lifespan of 80 years and you had done all the good things, helping people, doing good, and helping others, and things like that, that would create a lot of karmic energy in your karma bhava, and that would create the. This is not. It is not said that this is exactly going to happen. This karma subject of karma is very complex, and even only a supreme Buddha can pinpoint and say that this person would definitely go become a god, definitely become a dog, even though he has done so many good things, he can become a dog. And depending on what happens at the last moment, what environment is being created in that person's mind, and what decisions he make, that is totally that cannot be guessed by us, and we don't have the wisdom to see those kind of very fine details. So anyway, this is the theory, this is how it works. So you get godlike behavior, you do godlike things, and you got godlike attachment. So you are attached to doing godlike things, and at the end you would end up becoming a god. And at the end you would you would end becoming a brahma. If you do hellish like things, you hit people, you kill people, you cut their limbs, you hurt animals, you kill animals for food or anything else, now you are doing harm, you are doing dvesha. Now this is dvesha. Dvesha is when you create dvesha, the result is hell. So you become a hellish animal. So at the end, hellish being. So being in the hell. So that is because of that avidya, dvesha avidya, and you can say that it is because of hell like avidya, dog like avidya created a dog, hell like avidya created a hellish animal or a being. So that's the jati at the end. So what if the person did not have avidya and tanha? Whatever the sight, whatever the sight, whatever the sound, whatever the smell, taste, touch, or thought that comes to the mind, whatever the background is created, since the avidya is not there, since the attachment is not there, a jati would not be created, and that after 79 years, the last Paticca Samuppada cycle would be the last one for the sansara, and that would end, and that would here would be the end of sansara. Another one, another attachment would not be there. So that's how this works. Our mind is like a ball of glue. So if you know about glue, so it sticks wherever it goes. So if we try to get rid of glue, we have to wait until it dries up, so that we can remove the sheets of glue, dried sheets of glue from our hand. If the glue is not, if the glue is not drying up, we would never be able to get rid of the glue, because um, when we get it to the other hand, it would stick on the other hand. And if we try to get it on the back onto the remove from the hand which it is right now, it would get into the other hand. So it would stick somewhere. Our mind is also like that. When it is released from somewhere else, somewhere else, it would stick to another place. And when it is getting rid of that place, it would stick to another place. And this would not stop until avidya and tanha is gone. So that explains, I think that gives the idea, that gives the answer for your question. If you want to know more about that, you can ask.
Thero, there are two other connected questions, but I don't know whether we want to take that today or keep it for another day, but I'll read it out. It says, in the dhyana states, the object, when the thought and sustained reflection that aroused it, it is gone. Isn't jhana or dhyana a natural result of meditation?
Yeah, it's the answer for this second one is yes, it's a natural result of meditation, and you are not focusing on dhyana. It's like if you become a king, you do not look for the royal jewels. They just come as a accessory. But if you are a person who is a thief or a person who is trying to rob the palace, then you are looking for the royal jewels because you want to steal them. So we have to in this meditation practice, we are not looking for dhyana, because if that is done, then we become a thief and we would never be the king. So this is an analogy. So king is the result, or the kingdom is the nibbana. So we have to become the king to get the kingdom, or we have to become the owner of the kingdom. That is the king. But if we focus on royal jewels, then we become a thief, not a king. So we have to focus on nibbana, not on dhyana. Dhyana is a result of what we did. So it's actually outcome. Yeah, it's actually a what you called a result that occurs in the way, in the pathway, and there are four of them. Samma Samadhi is divided into 4 dhyanas. So that's how it is. So in dhyana state, the object, when the thought and the sustained reflection that is aroused, it is gone. I do not fully understand what it is said in the question, the first one. Mr. Dilip, if you understand what is being said in the first question, maybe you can enlighten me.
I'm equally not clear of what the question on the first one is, Thero. If Dr. John can maybe restate, if that is still remains a question, maybe you could restate it.
Yes. Now this, I would say something about dhyana. So dhyana is a very big topic to talk about, and we have to, before dhyana, we have to understand how to meditate correctly. This dhyana is actually a result of arpana samadhi. There are 3 samadhis. One is shanika samadhi, the other one is upachara samadhi, and the third one is arpana samadhi. Now, Arpana Samadhi is a very good environment or a background for someone to practice the Vipassana, or to reflect on what the world really is, or the Anicca Dukkha Anatta nature, and the Nibbana. So it's a very good place to do that. But we need this Shanika Samadhi, which happens. Shanika Samadhi means instant Samadhi, if you translate it into English. Now, Arpana Samadhi is a Samadhi that lasts for longer periods. Now, Shanika Samadhi, or temporary Samadhi, not temporary, instant Samadhi, is actually what you get in few seconds. You get the samadhi in few seconds, and you are out of the samadhi in no time as well. So it does not sustain, and that is very important as well. And the upachara samadhi is something in between. So it's a kind of an intermediate samadhi. So this arpana samadhi is not obtained by everybody. So everybody, every Arya would get this Ashanika and Upachara Samadhi, but the Arpana Samadhi is for Cheto Vimukta pathway. But for Prajna Vimukta pathway, then those are 2 different pathways, and there are Ubato Vimukta as well. So when you become an Ubato Vimukta, you have the wisdom, Prajna, as well as the Cheto Vimukta. That means the salvation from the or the blissful nature of the dhyanas as well. So you have the blissful nature of the dhyanas, as well as the blissful nature of from which you get by attaining nibbana. So that's cheto vimukta. If you have both, if you have both, it's ubato vimukta. Ubato means both. So cheto vimukta is about this mind, that means only dhyanas. when you develop these dhyanas, your mind becomes so calm and so peaceful. The raga, the roaming around, the raga means roaming, because of attachment, because of seeing value. So that part would end, and the raga would go to viraga. That means you get rid of raga, and that getting rid of raga would be the perfect mindset for wisdom to cultivate. So that person would get rid of raga and the find moha with the wisdom, and get rid of all the raga, dvesha and moha. Raga and dvesha would be gone in Cheto Vimukta, and at the end he would become a Bhato Vimukta. But some do not get this prajna, Chitta Vimukta state. Straight away develop the wisdom and get rid of raga, because the out of wisdom he sees that there's nothing to roam around, there's nothing valuable to roam around. So the first person who is practicing cheto vimukta, he stopped the roaming part, but did not see at the or the giving value part in raga. So there are two parts. You roam around on objects that you give value. So you can either get rid of the value that you give, so the roaming would stop, or you can get rid of the roaming. So in Cheto Vimukta, what is done is you get rid of the roaming initially, and then that is help to see the essenceless nature, or the useless or pointless nature of the world. So the both would be gone at the end. But for prajna vimukta, they are not trying to work on the mind initially to get rid of the roaming. Since they have higher level of wisdom, they straight away see that there's no value to go roam around, and the roaming around would stop at that point. So the persons, so these prajna vimukta individuals would not have dhyanas, but they would have shanika samadhi, upachara samadhi, and dhamma samadhi. So they would also have the samma samadhi, but they would not specifically have these characteristics of dhyana that we explained in an explanation before, stated as savitakkam savicharam vivekajam priti sukham patamadhyanam avitakkam avicharam vivekajam priti samajidam priti sukham dutiyajjanam. Likewise, there are four dhyanas with specific characteristics. Savitakka savichara is a characteristics, priti sukha are two characteristics, and ekagrata is the fifth characteristic. So likewise, there are characteristics, and these characteristics would not be seen in a prajna vimukta, since that person is not practice this, and he's not it does not want this kind of practice to attain enlightenment. So that's the story of dhyanas, and understanding about dhyana is also a very big topic, and you should focus more on the meditation, or how you use it. When you use it, dhyana or always comes from behind, if you are if you have created causes for that to occur. Since you cannot control it according to expectation, trying to control it or trying to obtain something according to expectation is actually creating the cause of suffering, dukkha samudaya jnanam. So you see through dukkha samudaya jnanam that you have created attachment, you have given value, you have thought that can be controlled according to my expectation, and that is a pathway to suffering. And since you are practicing the pathway of bliss, that should not occur. I think that gives an answer to that question, but that is not that might not be a comprehensive answer. But we would someday discuss about these dhyanas, because we are having these meditation sessions as well in the on Sunday evening. So with those kinds of meditation sessions, we would try to understand this dhyanas, and how dhyanas occur, and what are the experiences of it, and how you can use it to increase your vipassana power, or meditation, vipassana meditation, so that you see the reality of the world more clearly, and that would boost up your spiritual journey.
Thank you very much, Thero. There's an answer saying thank you very much for the answer. I'm curious about something a little more specific, so I'll ask a little more detail. Please forgive me for my lack of English. I'm assuming there will be a follow-up question now, or Thero, sorry, you were saying something. Apologies.
Yeah, no, I said the English part is okay. We will try to sort it out somehow. And if you can ask this question, are you referring that you're asking this question right now, or
Next time.
next time? Okay.
Next time.
Okay.
So in that case, Thero, since we've passed over 2.5 hours, first and foremost, thank you very much, Thero, for taking the time to explain and go through the questions. And also, thank you very much to the participants for putting forward questions that allowed those who are here and for yourself to get clarification. So we encourage all of you to ask questions. If you have questions, you may send it to the group for further discussions. So while thanking for that again, I would like to invite Thero to give us a short anumodana and finish the session with that. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So today everybody gathered here in this discussion forum to discuss about Supreme Dhamma, which is a very rare thing to happen. And with that rare opportunity, we were able to generate a lot of merits, immeasurable amounts of merits that would generate karmic energy that would definitely end our Sansaric journeys in the future. And with that energy, may everybody get the opportunity or the environment for to meet Kalyana Mitras, to understand the Supreme Dhamma, and all the hindrances, obstacles, barriers that cover up the eightfold pathway, or the only pathway, ultimate pathway to Nibbana, may get eliminated, revealing up the pathway, revealing up the eightfold pathway, and may everybody be able to follow the supreme pathway with ease, and accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And also, let us share this meritorious power with everybody else. Especially, we are having these discussions only because of others, help of others. There are many people who helped us during the Sansaric journey to get to this place, especially our parents, especially the dead relations, deceased relations of us, and also teachers, and also people who gave us jobs, who helped us all along the way, who showed us what is right and what is wrong, and also people who helped us in various ways, creating, constructing our houses, our workplaces and stuff. And also let us remind all the people who were hurted by us during the Sansaric journey. We might have hurted many people, and because of our gratifications, because of our avidya, thinking that these things are valuable, and the only tools that we had to protect these things or outside objects were the 10 immoral actions. So we might have done various unethical deeds on various levels, on various beings with higher qualities, and as well, and we might have harmed them, hurted them. Let us remind all of them as well, and let us remind them at this important moment, and let us remind all the gods, all the Brahmas, and all the sentient beings in this universe, especially the people who helped us to conduct these sessions via Zoom. So people who created the Zoom platforms and people who held behind the scene, and all the people who helped us during this during the course of this session, and let us remind all of them, and let us share this meritorious power with them. Let us spread this meritorious power wherever they are universe, regardless of their current state of being. May they develop happy and delightful mindsets, seeing this meritorious deed, seeing how important this Buddha Dhamma and discussions are, and may they, if they are in miserable places, may they refrain from doing sins, may they replace those sins with meritorious deeds, and may they understand the reality of the world, ultimately attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana. And with that thought in mind, transfer this meritorious power to them with metta.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, with that, we would end the session for today. So I would be reciting a blessing for everyone. Abhivadana Silisa Nichang Vata Pichayano Chatharo Dhamma Vadanti Ayuvanno Sukham Balang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sabda Sampatti Mevacha Atho Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samichatu. So
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Again, thank you very much to Venerable Thero for taking the time to explain the Dhamma to us and being patient with our questions. And I also like to thank all those who have participated and the questions that you posted. And we encourage you to do so. You can post it into the group for our next discussion. And with that, we finish the session for today. Theruvan Saranai, may the Triple Gem bless you all.
Theruvan Saranai, bro.
Everyone's